My name is Vincent Memo. I'm with Keller Williams Brandywine Valley out in Westchester, PA, Chester County. Been in the business probably in 2 weeks. It'll be a year. I don't know the exact day, but coming up on my anniversary right now. Just a little bit about me, a little backstory. I was in the entertainment business. I was building stages for Local 8 in Philadelphia, and COVID hit. Was collecting unemployment for quite some time. Decided to get my license and become a realtor. Didn't think I would hit the ground running as I have, but things worked out pretty well, and so now I'm a full-time real estate agent.
Thank you.
Are we clapping in between?
Can I make a request after
Sure.
you're done? You go, I rock! Oh, let's see who's got the most energy.
My name is Jackie Donahue. I work at Keller Williams Real Estate Montgomeryville. I have been in the business for about 4.5 years now. Absolutely love it. Cannot wait to share how I got to be able to sit here today. I probably will cry a couple of times because it's super emotional to me and very important. So thank you for coming today. I'm super nervous, so if you hear my voice shaking, that's why. I'm assuming we're going to get a chance to tell our story a little bit later.
I'm actually going to call
Yeah,
you
okay.
first.
Oh, great. I will pass it on to the next person then. Thank you.
You're wrong.
I'm Scott Busfield, Keller Williams, Northampton County. Address is actually Bethlehem, but similar. You know, I kind of the great disruptor, COVID, kind of shifted things for me. But we'll get into that, right? So, and I rock.
I'm Aisha Dean Bent. I am from the Bluebell Conshohocken market. I've been. We rock. Nevertheless, I have been in real estate for 2 years. 2 years and a couple months. I actually started 2 weeks prior to when the pandemic hit, and I can't wait to tell my story as well. And I might also cry because as I get older, I get very emotional. But nevertheless, you know, just happy to be here. I remember being where you guys were, and all these things were going through my head. So, just so you guys know that I rock, but you rock too.
Yeah.
I'm Nadine Huckins. My office is, well, where are we? We're up in Scranton, Clark Summit area. We're the northern tier. I've been doing this about 3.5 years, and it's been a total life changer for myself and my family and even my friends. So, thank you.
And I rock.
I'm Lisa Marie Barrientos. I'm in the Pocono Market Center in Stroudsburg. I've been doing this for 2 years, and can't wait to tell my story. And I rock too.
I know. Who has tissues? I can't wait to hear these stories.
Yeah.
So, as promised, I will let Jackie go first.
My husband and I bought a property, when we were 24 years old, so it was about 11 years ago. And the experience was absolutely terrible. The real estate agent wasn't very knowledgeable. We didn't really know much about the houses, didn't really know timeline. I mean, any question that I had, he was kind of like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. So we ended up working with a different real estate agent to purchase our first house. And when we went to go sell our first house and buy our second home, it was kind of like, our agent, same thing. We're like, did we get the house? Did we, like, are we good? Is our mortgage good? What, like, where are we? Are we, like, moving? Should we pack? Like, we didn't know really anything. There was not a lot of guidance. So the agent that I was working with at the time was like, you're really on top of stuff. Like, you could totally do this. And I'm like, oh, you're really funny. You know, I have 2 daughters at the time. They were much younger. They were 4 and 3 and 9 months. So it was a baby and a coming out of a toddler, and it was pretty brutal. So I'm like, maybe I should check this real estate thing out. I'll do it online. Big mistake for me. I'm an in-person learner, and I went through the courses online, and then I went to go take my first, course exam and failed it. And I was like, and just knowing myself, I like never follow through with anything. So I'm like, whatever, I'm done. So about 6 months goes by, and one of my good friends is like, you're just gonna give up? Like you're gonna be done? Like this is it? And I was like, what do you want me to do? Like I tried and I failed. And he's like, no, you didn't. Like you gotta figure out another way to make it happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll look in person. So, you know, anyone who has children or has another job, your time is split. So you're like, how can I make this happen in person? How, you know. Anyway, long and short of it, went to school, loved it, passed my class exam, went to get my actual license, failed the national part, passed the state part. So anytime, you know, you go to do something, you expect success immediately. And then when you don't get that, it's discouraging, and you're like, maybe it's not for me, you know. But I was so close that I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back. Got my license, drove to Harrisburg to pick it up because I was super happy. Like, I literally was like, I had met Jason. His energy was just unbelievable. I interviewed at a bunch of different brokerages, but I'm like super needy, like almost to a degree of like, when you look at me call, you're like, I mean, and you can ask Jason, he can attest to it. So one of those conversations that we had when I had my interview with him was, are you gonna be able to deal with me? Like on a daily basis. I know what you're saying that you offer, but I love helping people and I just wanna get as much information as I can from you. Like, are you gonna be okay with that? And he's like, that's my job. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. This is what I do. Whatever you need, I'm gonna be there. And I'm like, sold. So that was fantastic. At the time, I also had 2 other jobs. I was a bartender and I was a coach for gymnastics. So this was like a third thing, and I'm like, you know, on trying to see how I could balance. Because I'm like, worst case scenario, this real estate thing doesn't work out, I can always just bartend for the rest of my life until my knees give out, because it's like, you know, a skill that brings in cash, it's money right away, it's consistent, you know what you're gonna have. So through the coaching process I went through coaching three times. And I call Jason my security blanket, because that's kind of what it feels like when you're new and you don't know anything and you're trying to be like, do I make a decision? Do I quit something? Do I just do everything? You know, I'm an overthinker, so I second guessed literally everything, every step of the way. But he made me keep going. Anytime I was like, I can't do this, I'm not cut out for this, he was like, why not? Why not you? Why can't you do this? Yes, you can. Let's figure out how to do this. Let's figure out how to work through this. And I was on a roll, and anytime I would get momentum and be like, okay, I'm really good, then I would second guess my abilities. I always came back to like, I don't want to get too busy because I'm not going to be able to do this. And then COVID hit, and it was like, you know, I remember having meltdowns on the phone with Jason many, many times, because my life is people. People feed my soul. Like, this is what we do. What am I going to do? So we had many, many coaching sessions, group coaching. Everything was virtual, obviously, and it was all about how to shift and navigate and really figure out what you want to do with this business. What do you want to do? Like, if you really want to make a career out of this, we're going to teach you how to buckle down, bet on yourself, and figure it out. And that's when the switch like flipped, and it made me sit down and actually come up with systems that worked for me and talk to other agents about, how did you get here? You know, because everyone measures success differently. Just because, I mean, there's 6 of us, so it's like, I'm sure we each have a completely different story about, I don't even still consider myself like successful. I think that I'm in a better position than I was when I first started, just because of the confidence, you know, component. But ever since then, it's been more of an uphill, gradual increase in my business, and I'm just super thankful for, sorry, I feel like I'm talking and rambling, but I'm just super thankful for having people that actually believed in what I was able to do, my abilities, even when I questioned everything and didn't think that I was worthy of being here. And that pours out into our clients. Like, that pours out into what we do. That pours out into even our peers, and just being able to be like, oh my gosh, you're like so fun to work with, and you're like really nice, and like I want to do it again. And that's kind of where you start to get the momentum and really build a nice career. So I'm skipping,
I
but
see a lot of
that's
people
that.
agreeing with
Yeah,
you. and a
I'm
lot of
done.
people thinking, and-
Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Yeah.
With their story. We can go out and rotate ahead.
My turn.
Scott, yes.
Thanks for that icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm probably the worst public speaker, so I'll just keep it brief, right? I think, so my story starts probably in 2018. I mean, no, it goes way so I was an engineer in the Valley for a decade, and I just said, God, like, I know there's something more for me, and I just said, you know, do something with me, and so there's just kind of a prayer I prayed, and then and there's a couple connections that just had happened through that kind of self-searching. My mother-in-law had a successful business, and she was doing well. Her two children didn't want anything to do with the business, and I had an itch from probably as a kid. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to do something with the business, but it was kind of a, yeah, right, I can't really do that. That's not what I'm destined for. I grew up blue collar, and that's the way I've got to go. And so, 2018, I said this, you know, God, do something with me. In 2019, there was some crazy stuff going on over there in China that kind of hit the world, and you know, really kind of disrupt some things. I had made it through many layoffs at the company I was with as an engineer, so I felt like I had some value. You know, I didn't feel like I was just kind of riding along, but at the end, I got laid off, right? And so I got a severance package, and I told myself, I'm gonna learn a new skill set. I'm going to diversify, and I just had this kind of switch that happened to me, and I kind of got focused on something else, and that's when we kind of came back to this whole, hey, Barb, what do you think about real estate? And she kind of chuckled at me, and this entrepreneurial dream started to kind of take shape, and she said, let's go. And so I was just studying. I did it online, right, because everything was locked down, and got my, just the doors opened, and they opened, and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be going this way. Got my license, and within the first, I think within 3 months, I was kind of the needy guy to the coach in the coaching program, Fred Hutterberg, and I just plowed him with questions, and I could just see his eyes roll, and I was just hungry for answers, and I said, there's just this mindset that said, I'm not going to fail, I'm going to survive, claw my way through this, and it just, so I got my first listing, and learned so much, and you know, the journey kind of continues. I'm close to 18 months licensed, and it's great, right? It worked out pretty good the first year, and so as you may say, like, oh, geez, was that beginner's luck? I look around me and just like the uplift of Keller Williams, the mindset, the way it's changed my life. I'll never go back. I'll never go back to engineering the way it was, right? So I'm hooked. It's cool. It's really neat, you know, just to be. I'm a compassionate person. I give my mom credit for that, and I'm a driven person. I give my dad credit for that. And so here we are on a path and we're plowing forward.
Yeah, that's a great combination.
Switching it up?
Yep, we're switching it up.
So my story is kind of the same. So basically what happened to me was COVID hit. Like I said, I was in the union. Good paying job, steady, decent job security, you know. And COVID hit, got put out of business for a little while. And then I remember, so I started doing real estate. And since I was laid off, I was kind of just like giving it everything I had. And then like, I think it was probably 2 months into me like starting to like do real estate, my previous job called me back, and they're like, hey Vince, we want you to come back full time. So I'm like, crap, like I was just trying to get my feet off the ground with this, right? So then I had a heart-to-heart with my coaches, and it was kind of, obviously it was a big situation, right? I mean, I have a decent paying job and a lot of room to excel, right? Just that W-2 employee, or I can go this crazy route and become a full-time real estate agent and be 100% commission-based. So then I realized how much money and I could, because I didn't want to leave a good paying job, and I didn't know how much I could make in real estate, so I was worried. But luckily, I had a good support system around me. My wife was just pushing me. She was like, forget the union job, just go full-time real estate. She's like, don't even worry about it, just go full-time real estate. I'm like, babe, what if I can't make ends meet? She's like, you'll figure it out. And I'm like, all right, okay. And my coaches, I give a lot of credit to my coaches as well. We looked at the pros and the cons. So I left my union gig and went full-time real estate. Haven't looked back since. Everything's been going pretty well. I guess I should go back to what made me become a licensed realtor, sorry. I was sitting in a landscaping truck with my buddies, cutting grass. I was sitting on a big bag of grass, and we start talking about real estate, and he goes, I always thought about being a real estate agent, and I'm like, just kicking around the idea. I'm like, I never really thought about it, and then I realized, how easy it was to become a licensed realtor. It's 75 hours here at PA, so I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I think I'd be all right at it, you know what I mean? So after that conversation, I went home that day, bought the online courses, and man, I mean, looking back to how just you really don't know, like that was, I guess, 2 years now, or a year and a half? I don't know, but how much of a difference something can make for you. I would never, if you told me I was going to be up here speaking in front of you guys like last year, I would have said, you're lying, right? But it's just crazy how little time can change, and how life-changing something can be when you have no idea. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you for hearing. People who took a leap of faith, persevered, had the support of their family and their awesome coaches in this audience, and the strength of a company with systems and methods. So this is great. Maisha, we're going to go to you.
Yes. All right.
You
So.
do have tissues.
Thank you.
And a tissue.
So yes, Maisha Dean, my story. So I was 17 years in store management and HR management at Lowe's Home Improvement, big box, Fortune 500 company. And I didn't see myself in real estate until, of course, life-changing event. They changed their management structure. Things got a little bit different, and my position was actually changing. I was used to doing several hours a week, day in, day out. So therefore, I was going to pursue my HR career, leaving Lowe's, and and it just happened whereas though me having a property of my own, and I was renting out the property, and those potential tenants that were coming in saying, oh, are you the realtor? Are you the realtor? And I'm like, actually, no, I'm actually the homeowner. And they're like, oh, okay, you represent yourself really well as the house. So that kind of like put something in my head. And then my husband would also say to me, you would be great in real estate. We're looking to buy more properties. It just fits. And I'm like, well, it's not really consistent as far as I know. So he kind of pushed me as well to look more into it. And so I did. I actually signed up for a brunch at Keller Williams in Bluebell. I wasn't an agent yet. I met Val. Val was so inspiring. She taught the basics of, real estate, Keller Williams at that time, and it gave me so much more confidence in making my decision. So therefore, prior to me even passing my exams, I knew which brokerage I wanted to be in because of Val. So I appreciate her for that. When I was in school, everybody was saying, what brokerage are you going to? I'm going here, I'm going there. And I'm like, I'm going to Keller Williams Bluebell. And they're like, well, you're not even a licensed realtor yet. I said, I know what I want, and that's where I'm going. So you guys can follow me if you like, because they have a great program over there. So I spoke highly of Keller Williams Blue Bell prior to even stepping my foot in the door to get my real training done. But nevertheless, I was always someone who knew what they wanted. I always had the confidence to just believe in myself. Even if it was something that I was afraid of, I try to find ways to kind of make it my own. So therefore I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So therefore I took the classes. I didn't do online. I actually went to, on hands training, because that's what was best for me. And I'm happy that I did do that, because I know a lot of people didn't have the opportunity going through the pandemic. So therefore I learned a lot being in training. I also was able to connect with a lot of people. I went to go take my exams. I also passed the state and failed the national the first time, and I was bummed. When I tell you, because I felt like everybody in my family knew I was taking the exams, and I said, why did I tell everybody? I should have just waited. But I realized that after you do the training, I don't know if everybody in here is licensed realtors yet or not, but you have to take the time to, study. You have to take the time to kind of like take the material in. So I went to take the exams right after my training, and they don't teach you everything in that 75 hours or so. So therefore I took the time out. My husband will tell you, he's here, which is my biggest supporter. For 2 weeks straight, sun up to sundown, I studied, I retained the information, I went back, I was ready, I took those nationals, and I passed the second time. I was so happy, I was pumped. I was like, you got this, girl, you rock. So therefore, and I was ready. I called Val and said, let's do it, I'm on. So basically, that's pretty much how my story did begin. I don't know if I should go into anything further now.
We'll have a chance to do all that.
Okay, all right, so yes.
Awesome.
That's it.
Kind of just ended up here. No, in all seriousness, I'm like that person who went through life with no plan, High school, I hated school, kind of just did my thing, did the bare minimum, because let's face it, we all get the same piece of paper at the end of, walking across the stage. So soon after that, I got pregnant with my daughter. Still no life goals, I'm just doing the thing, working part-time jobs here and there, work a couple motocross tracks, beer stores. My last event was at the vet office. I worked for a veterinarian. I was a vet tech. Loved the job. I have a little sister who she has some health issues. She had 2 small children. And she called me one morning. She was getting taken to the ER. So I go over to take care of the kids. And the vet says to me, this isn't my problem. Don't make it my problem. You have to come to work. And I'm like, I can't. I've got my sister's kids. This is, it's my little sister. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, well, I know what to tell you. So, that happened. I walked into the vet office the next day. I found a neighbor to help me with the kids, because she's still in the hospital, and her husband is running, they have a construction business, and the kids are small, and, I'm sorry, guys, sometimes you're not that great with small children. So, lo and behold, I walk into the office the next day, and I threw the keys on the desk, and I said to her, I won't be in here, today, tomorrow, or any day after that. Quit my job to help my sister, and then I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And a friend of mine was taking real estate class. She's like, why don't you take that? I'm like, I'd like to do that, I think. So took the classes. We did, we both, we did our tests and all that. And she's not in real estate anymore. She lasted 2 months. I ended up at Keller Williams, and poor Bill, when you were talking earlier about being coachable, I had to be coached to be coachable. Because I was reinventing the wheel all the time. I'd be like, yeah, all right, well, whatever, Bill, I'll do it my way. And then I'd come finally 6 months after not having anything, I'm like, all right, what do you got? Let's tell me what we need to do here. And then, he held me accountable every day. It's like, did you make your contacts? And my contacts started off with 25 for the week. And by the time I graduated with the coaching program, I think it was 125 for the week. And he's like, did you make your calls? And I don't call. I ended up pumping gas at the gas station. My own gas. I would just $10 at a time just to talk to people, because I need to be in front of people. I can't do the phone thing. But he encouraged me every time. And then I'd go to the bar, which who doesn't like going to the bar? But I learned to not have to have one drink, and then just bribe the bartender. Listen, pretend, make it look pretty like I'm drinking, but there's no alcohol in it. Just to be out in the public and be social. And And that's what worked, you know, and I mean, I give Bill a lot of credit because I was pretty uncoachable in the beginning, and he still has challenges.
Absolutely, thank you. And we said we were gonna keep it real today, that you were all gonna hear something that you could pick up, that's gonna resonate with you, and that's gonna help you move forward, and that's excellent. Thank you very much for being so candid. And thank you, Bill, for dealing with her. Last but not least, we're ready.
So, my adventure began like 2 years ago now, 2 years and a few months. So I was a sales manager, group sales for a resort in the Poconos. And I like loved it. I would have retired doing that. Like I loved my job, everything about it, the building, all the things. And so everything was great, at least I thought. And I went on maternity leave, had my baby, went back a month early because stay-at-home mom life, not for me. But went back a month early, and then 5 days later they're like, "Oh, we eliminated your position. You're screwed." Wow. So now I have like an 8-week-old, no job. My husband and I were like in deep financial issues with like money we lent my family. It was just a disaster, ready to like jump off a bridge. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I started applying for more hotel jobs, got 2 job offers, but the pay was only gonna cover childcare. It's like, well, this is like, what am I doing? So I was like, I'm gonna go into real estate, and my whole family's like, here you go again, these new ideas you come up with. Like, my husband really did support me, but he was like, you're gonna do it. Like, just do it, just go for it, don't give up. Not like these. I failed the test numerous times, wanted to give up, met Cassie. She was like, just keep taking it, keep taking it. Finally failed one, passed the other after failing both. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it done. And like finally got it done, and I like there's nothing else I would rather be doing than real estate. Nothing. Like I get to raise my kid sometimes. But I mean, I see like my sister's in the hotel business, and I see like her stress, and I'm like, F that. I mean, real estate too, but I'm like, F that. Like, people have like 9 to 5s and like follow direction. I'm like, I'm in charge of myself, but like, I just didn't ever want to be in a position to get fired again. Like, if anyone's firing me, it's going to be a seller, and it's because we just don't mesh. You're not going to fire me for doing a good job because you don't want to pay my salary anymore. Like, that's just never again. So like, Cassie is like my earth angel again. She had to deal with a lot. One time I text her, I was like, I don't see it on the tax records, and she's like, sends me a screenshot with like a big circle, and she's like, just read it. I'm like, okay. But yeah, just read it. So like, definitely, coaches are really what gets you through this. And I knew nothing about real estate at all, but yeah, here I am. Here I am.
So we always talk about the tribe of 5, right? Building your tribe of 5, those people that are gonna believe in you, invest in you, push you really hard, even though you don't wanna be. And I would like to know from you guys, who is yours? So, Maisha, let's go with you first.
Oh, okay. So my husband, who is here, he's my biggest support system, my biggest motivator. I definitely could not do it without him. There's days that even with a lot of confidence that I have, you know, there's times that you get weak and you just need that push. Val also being the coach, Val is very straight up. She's not going to do it for you. She's going to give you what you need, and you have to take it from there. Hope, my girl. I truly remember, just really quickly, I truly remember the week of before the shutdown. We were in training, and I got a phone call, and it was someone that referred me that quick. I just got my license, and I got a referral. I was at the brokerage, and they're like, yes, you know, I want to buy a house, and I would like you to represent me. I was given your name, thank you, by someone that you know. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I'm like, but my heart dropped. Cause I'm like, I don't know nothing. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I truly thought it was a test. And then I took the information and I was like, Hope, oh my gosh, I just got a call. Buyer's consultation, I don't know what to do. I can't do it. Can you go with me? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, calm down, girl. I'm sending you the buyer's consultation. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna be fine, relax. And I'm like, okay.
Cause you rock.
Cause I rock, right? So I took a deep breath. I got the information from her and I was ready, even though the client did not know that I was still in training. And that's one thing that's very important. Do not believe in yourself, because they're not going to ask you, how long have you been doing real estate? Oh, you only been doing real estate for 1 month? Oh, you only did this? You don't know that? They're not going to ask you that. Now, if you don't present yourself like you know anything, then of course they're going to get, you know what I mean? They'll see those red flags. But believe in yourself. You are enough. And that's something that I had to realize, you know, that they given me enough, Keller Williams, to be able to do that buyer's consultation, have that buyer, then of course 3 days later, shut down from the pandemic, but I was able to nurture, so those are my whys. And my daughter, I have a 23-year-old, she looks up to me, she admires me, so just being able to make her happy when I get sales and when I post things, and you know, I'm screaming through the house when I get, you know what I mean, offer accepted, and she's like, that's my mom. You know, she posts on her social media, look at me, mommy. You know, she's 23 years old, but she still calls me mommy. But those are the things that make me happy and make me do what I do, and being able to help people, making a difference in people's lives, because that's where I came from, being in HR and store management. It keeps me going.
Lisa, who was the most valuable person to believe or invest in you?
You asked me, right? I didn't. Well, aside from like Carlos, that's my husband, guys. Cassie, like, without a doubt. So I had like no confidence and just, I'm telling you, the coaches, without a doubt, believe in you every single day when no one else does. And like Michael and I went through coaching together. So like our little core group, we keep each other going still. But if I don't think I could do it, Michael knows I can. And vice versa. So.
Yet again, the tribe of 5.
Right.
Wins.
Yeah.
Let's say, Scott, what was the most valuable tool that you invested in to help you through your first year?
Jeez, that's the question I hadn't figured out.
Doesn't it always happen like that?
Yeah, right? Go back to the other question. No. I'm still figuring it out, right? I think tool, like the tech, I think, I still don't know Facebook. I'm still figuring out Facebook, right? The only reason I got on Facebook is because of the job, I think. But, you know, so I'm figuring that out. Command is a pretty powerful tool. When I see its potential, I probably know 10% of it, and I think that's kind of something I can grow into a little bit.
So you'll be investing more time into Command?
Yeah, well, you know, yeah. I mean, I think there's just a lot of leverage in using Command with my 12 Direct, 36 Touch, and my 8x8, the Red Book Classics. Yeah, I guess that's the answer.
Let's go with Vince.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so what was the most valuable tool you invested in your first year to help you get where you are?
I'd say the phone 100%, right? So that's where 98% of my business has come from, has been the phone. Basically just calling for sell by owners, expireds, absentee owners. So that's been my bread and butter. I've only had one family member has worked with me in the past year. I've got nothing from my friends or family, but I'm still young, so I'm sure they will. At least that's what I keep telling myself, right? No, yeah, absolutely use the phone for sure, because I'd have nothing without the phone, and probably just like my dialer, you know, just because I use the dialing system, so that'll be my answer.
More efficient?
Absolutely.
anybody else want to talk about what tools you used?
I mean, I don't know what the dialer is, but I have a little app on my phone. Like, I live rural, like 3 dirt roads off of a paved road. I use a hunting app.
Yeah.
So, Onyx Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. See
Great
that?
tool, guys.
Wait, what's that?
So here, let me tell you. So you get it here, it's $24, $25 for the year.
Okay.
And when you drive by, and like up by me, there's a lot of houses or cabins that people don't come to, you don't see tracks or whatever. You hit that on your phone, it pulls up who owns the property,
Oh, wow.
and it gives you their mailing address. So then from there, I'm giving up all the secrets here. From there, you take that information, you got their name, put it in another app, like we have Forewarn,
Right, and you get the number right.
and get the number that way. Or with the Forewarn app too, 'cause it kind of gives you the age. So if they're older, me calling might be intimidating, or you know what I mean? They might feel like it's a scam. So a lot of times, a handwritten card,
Yeah,
just with your business card, and it's just a little something. And
absolutely.
I mean, it's about
That's
1
good.
out of 10 for me.
So it's a great way to help you lead generate.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, it's great, and you don't have tax records, correct?
yeah.
You can't just click on CRS.
Oh, well,
and-
Lackawanna County is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we
For those
used a
of you
tax
out there.
card the other day, and then you have to write they want a personal check sent, and then they send it back. But yeah, I'm right on the Binghamton line. I live probably 20 minutes from upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty rural, but that works easy.
Speaking of lead gen, I think you have some questions about that.
I do, so I'm gonna go on, it's gonna be every other person will answer this question, and then the second part will be for the odd number ones. What was your most impactful class with Keller Williams?
Okay, so there's two, but one was definitely, when I first started, there was power hour every day from 9 to 11. You did it, Cassie did it, JD did it, Bill did it. I sat through that every single day, 5 days a week from 9 to 11. And at first, I would shut my camera off, and then when we did breakout rooms, I'd hang up.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I did. There was no lead gen. I listened and then I hung up. But then I was like, all right, well, this is not gonna get me anywhere. Let me just show my face. Right? And then I started participating. And so that was definitely the most impactful to get my business moving. But we did the disc class. I don't know if all the offices do it, but that was my most impactful because it really helped me with the personalities of buyers and sellers, how to deal with them and how to mesh with them well. So that was, and group coaching weekly, so all of them.
Okay,
I would say the Wednesday coaching classes were very helpful because they always had a specific agenda on just teaching us, whether it be lenders or how to write certain contracts. So that has really helped me, in the beginning of my business, and they were very consistent. So I would definitely say that. Bold as well. I never had the opportunity to do bold classes in person because of the pandemic. I've heard great things about just being interactive and just being in the present. So I know it was much more impactful, but just really being held accountable to things. So I would definitely say that as well.
and Bold is coming back in person. Jackie, favorite class?
Contracts class.
Okay.
That was, I love group coaching too, but contracts class was where I feel like I got the most information, and Jason went through the agreement of sale, primarily, which is the meat and potatoes of what we do. There's nothing worse than going through an agreement of sale and you're trying to brush over a line because you're like, I don't really know how to explain that to your client. So Jason went through line by line with us and would explain the verbiage because it's very confusing and you want to make sure that you're guiding your clients right. So I took that class, I can't even tell you how many times, over and over and over again, because that's the document that we need to know inside and out. So hands down, that was my number one, and group coaching was number two. I didn't take group coaching seriously at first though, so that was something where I was like, oh, I don't need that, I'll be fine because I have Jason. But what I learned was that being there with other agents, I built friendships. We all had very similar concerns or questions, so you had an added layer of support from people that were on your same level, same even playing field. So you didn't feel like you walked up to one of the agents that are top producing in your office and you're like, Hi, I'm Jackie. You know, it was just, you know, very welcoming and open, and we were all in the same place. So that's my answer to that.
Excellent. You know, y'all are doing our jobs as coaches for us, talking about the importance of being on camera and participating in the coaching classes and the extra layer of accountability. Our work's basically done, because we have these guys speaking for us. Thank you very much. We're gonna go on to your favorite book with regard to business.
Yeah, so I would say it's probably gonna be all of our favorite books, right? I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's just basically like, obviously, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people have read the book. It's a great book. Scratches the surface, but I mean, just get your mind going in towards that way where you're like, okay, like, how do I really build wealth? What do I need to do? So basically, it's just a good scratch the surface book. I mean, it's vague in some senses, I would say, but it's definitely a good book to read.
Thank you.
You picked a good one. I think that was kind of some of the catalysts that got me moving too. As the guy that wants to understand things to its core principle, I like to take sometimes a deep dive on things. And I think one of the books that my coach, Ty DeSay, really kind of showed me was Fanatical Prospecting. And it really kind of brought me to this like the scary calls, the cold calls, the how do I talk to people, and am I doing it right? And it really kind of brought through, it just kind of scraped away the BS and said, look, this is what your mission is, you know, do it. And through it I found motivation, and I hit that dialer, right? And I actually bought a dialer because of the book, and I was like, whoa, cool.
Okay, fanatical prospecting, all right, for
Yeah.
people who are looking for a good read. Excellent.
Mine was the one thing. Because again, I told you guys, like, I just, you know, whatever happens, happens. I needed to get my why and get focused. And the one thing, that's the one that started me, you know, one thing at a time, and helps hold myself accountable.
So Cassie, it's 12 o'clock. We have a bit more time with the panelists, so pick out your next favorite question and go for it.
I'm gonna go with the lead gen one because I'm gonna pick on you again, Lisa, because I think you have a really great story about this and the obstacles you had to come over. So this is gonna kind of tie in, what was your obstacle on getting business and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so I am from New Jersey and I moved to Pennsylvania. So all of my friends and my family, they're all still in New Jersey. So I didn't have like the sphere that everyone talks about, right? And I have my old coworkers, but since I was in a crabby mood that everyone fired me, I didn't want to call anyone. So I got licensed on like Christmas Eve, but then expired day happened, but I didn't have access to MLS. So I texted Cassie and I was like, well, what can I do? And she's like, use Zillow, use your mind, I don't know. So I got on and I started with for sale by owners, and I called them every single day. Every day I checked for new ones. I called them every single day, and there was one power hour where I was so close to getting this listing. And JD actually called me on the side and was like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to text him, you're going to email him, and you're going to call him every single day of the week. And in my head, I'm like, oh, absolutely not. No way, that's a stalker, absolutely not. So I put all of that like limited belief mindset to the side, and I did exactly what he said, and they hired me. So I definitely just kind of took the ground running from that, and I kind of stuck with FSBOs for my whole first year. FSBOs and expireds. A lot of FSBOs is like, I'm gonna sell myself. We don't need you. Drop your commission to 2%. Blah, 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 blah. Like they just hate us, right? But you just get over it and you show your worth. Come from a place of contribution, and now if they don't want to hire me, well, it's their loss. Right. So, but since I've built that foundation, I'm kind of like going into like farming, my general area, trying to get into like break through my neighborhood, stuff like that. And now in my second year, I'm seeing like my FSBOs are referring me a little bit. So it's not like I don't have to call 27 FSBOs or go to Target and talk to 10 strangers that I don't want to do. So it's definitely, that was definitely my obstacle. Just definitely get over the commission hump and show your worth and be the recent, like, you know what you're doing, they don't know what they're doing. You ask them if they have like a seller's property disclosure, they're like, I don't need that, but you do. You're the expert, show them your worth, and come from like a good place, and they'll come back to you.
So how many families in your first year saw your worth and hired you as a FISBO?
11 FISBOs and 1 expired.
Wow.
I think.
Right? Find what you're good at and.
And that's Cassie said that, like, okay, you got 1 FISBO, you seem to like them, find what you're good at and just do that. That's all you have to do. And then add it in, like, that's all you're gonna do.
Build it.
Add new things, yeah.
So Jackie, how about you? What was your thought on lead generation? What was your obstacle and how did you overcome it?
Oh, goodness gracious. So I told you guys I was a bartender when I got my license. So it, for me, was kind of, that was my feeder. I had access to my local people. So they watched me studying in between breaks at the bar. So I had a handful or more of people waiting for me to get my license so that I could help them. So I was fortunate enough to not really have to focus on that initially, and that was a conversation that Jason and I had over and over again, because he's like, how many people did you call? How many times? And I'm like, nobody. Like, why do I need to do this? I have, you know, all of these people helping me. And then I don't like to bother people, and that's the way I kind of kept telling myself, if I'm calling them, if I'm texting them, I'm bothering them. Like, I do not like the sales personality type, like the salesman, like, get away from me. I literally won't even work with you and buy a car with you if I don't think that you genuinely care or are listening to what I'm saying, but you're just trying to like push and sell me something. Like, I can't. And I'm still that way. So I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't that type of salesperson. So in my mind, those two, cold calling or texting, go hand in hand with like I'm being pushy. When really it's not. We have knowledge about what's happening, especially right now, because there's so many changes in the real estate market and interest rates, that you want to be able to tell people, hey, I know that you're on the fence because you have been talking about selling your house for 2 years and you need a first floor living now. So like, let me show you what your house is worth. I can help you. I can give you this information. So I'm a little bit more comfortable making calls. But again, still not one of my favorite things to do. A lot of the times I'll just find reasons to like talk to people. So like you mentioned not going to Target, I love Target. So like I literally will be like, oh, excuse me, and then be like, oh, I love what you have in your cart. Where did you find that? Whatever I have to do to like strike up a conversation, and then I always find a way to say that I'm in real estate. Whether it's, oh my goodness, I was showing a house the other day and da-da-da. And then they're like, oh, you're a realtor? Yes! Do you need help? So for me, that's still my comfort zone, is like, I'm okay with going into crowds and just like talking to a random person, and you never know what's gonna happen from there. So that's my primary focus. I do make my calls, but still not as much as I should.
So people do get confused, right? They think the only way to lead generate is calling.
Yeah.
And like you, I was a bartender.
Yeah.
I kept it for a year, and that was my lead gen.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to 100-something people in a day, right? So don't get confused thinking that phone calls is it. There's so many different ways to get yourself out there and build relationships.
Yep.
Val.
Okay, all right, so my favorite question, I'm gonna go to, how has your personal life changed with real estate entering the picture?
Oh, I definitely feel like more confident, and I don't feel like, I don't know how to explain it, like, I'm like introverted still, but like not in a shell, I guess, but definitely like more confident. I could do anything. I can do anything.
My personal life has changed because, like, my spirit has changed. Like, I feel like a lot of the people that I was, hanging out with or talking to were kind of like holding me down. Like, like you become like the top 5 people you hang out with. So, if you're gonna hang out with, drunks and drug dealers, the chances of you becoming a drunk and a drug dealer are pretty high. Right. So if you find the people in your area who are like the people around that are successful and they do investments and they're looking for different passive incomes, well then, like that's where your interests are gonna go, and that's how, so mine changed substantially.
Yeah,
that's
an excellent point.
Absolutely, I would say the same. You know, you start meeting different type of people, and then you start inspiring people. So you become this person that, you know, you felt like, I have to know so much to make an impact, to being that person that people come to, because again, and I always say this, you are enough. And my personal life has changed for the better, because I am connecting with people outside my sphere. When I first started, I was kind of like complacent, you know, because so many people that were referring me, or people will work with who they like. And that statement is so true. So you have to be likable. So just, you know, already having me being a people person, it just kind of made things so much brighter for me, and it's a good thing. So it's only up from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that you are enough. I actually say that, and that's been one of the themes from today, so thank you.
I mean, I was a bit of a crazy kid.
Okay,
I got in
do
trouble
tell.
a lot. And I was kind of always told, you know, I remember to go to the HR office, you gotta work on your soft skills and stuff like that. And so this was like, what has it done for me? Oh, it's liberating, right? It's almost like I'm free again. And it's like, sorry. But, you know, like, I just, wow, there's this world we're living now. And it's great. Mindset. Wow, what a different world I live day to day now, because my mindset has been challenged. And you know, one thing in the military, it was like false motivation is better than no motivation. It was kind of a joke, you know, and like we would just like through the grit of it, and you would just hear oh, and like everybody would just smile, you know what I mean, and just kind of get you through. And there's this Keller Williams like uplifting vacuum that happens, and just like the spirit, and it's like, wow, this mindset, it works, it's real, and it's changed my life. So it's exciting. It's a life worth living, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Life by design too.
Yeah,
Excellent. Okay.
I feel like personally for me as a genuine human being, I have a confidence that I never thought was capable. I'm able to help and inspire people in a way that is genuine, where I'm not that salesperson. I'm helping sometimes someone make one of the hardest decisions in their lives, whether, you know, it's unfortunately someone's, you know, marriages are falling apart, and you have to be, you know, you gotta wear a lot of hats as a real estate agent and really have that compassion and that kindness that Jason talked about earlier. Or if it's a first-time home buyer and they're very nervous, and you just kind of hold their hand and I'm like, I've got you, you know. So it's been really nice to see that I can make an impact in someone's life, because it feels good. it really does. And also, as far as, it's the first time that I actually had to bet on myself, because you're what you put into your business. That's it. Like, it's literally you. Like, it's the business of you. So your coaches can tell you and give you all the tools and say, this is what, you know, this is how you can become successful. But if you don't take it and internalize it and make it your own, which is one of the, if you take away anything from me today, is that what works for you may work for me, but I have to do it my way. I have to put my flair on it. I have to make it my own so that it feels natural and organic. So being able to do all of those things adds a whole other level of confidence, and it kind of just pours into everything else you do in your life now. Like everything, you know? I'm like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. The sky's the limit. It's like the abundance mentality. And, you know, I know you hear that often. And trust me, the first time I heard that statement, I was like, abundance mentality. Like, what? You know? But it's absolutely true. A switch flips, and then all of a sudden you're like, the sky is literally the limit. Like, there is no limit to what you can do if you put your mind to it and you invest in yourself. Like, do not tell yourself that you can't. You just gotta, like, keep going. Or go to your coach and be like, Jason, I can't do this today. And he's gonna be like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just don't even say that. So, that's it.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I had nothing against my boss in my other job. He was all right. But so for me, I guess, I mean, I liked the work, I really did, it was good, but I mean, it just wasn't a good family gig. Like, I would go up, wake up early, go set up a stage, come home for a few hours, go back out, and I'd have to take down the stage, and I'd be up till 2 or 3 in the morning taking down the stage. So it was fun, like, I'm 23, so like now it's fun, but like when I'm 50, like, it might not be as fun, right? And I mean, just the fact that I just had a baby, he's 2.5 months old. So I'll sit in my office all day, I'll make phone calls. I mean, if I don't have any appointments or anything, there's nothing else you should be doing in real estate. I'm a person that likes to hit the phones. So if you don't have any business coming in, I mean, you have to focus on lead generation, right? That's the number one thing you have to do. If there's nothing coming in, you have to do lead generation, or else you're going to go out of this business faster than you came in. But I mean, there's nothing better than me making calls and then just getting up whenever I want to, and I can go kiss my baby. You know what I mean? That's like priceless, right? So that's probably, I mean, the biggest thing for me, right, is just being able to do that. I mean, that in and of itself is worth more than anything else. You know what I mean? I can do that. Not everybody can. So that's probably my number one thing. I mean, real estate, I mean, just to go on a little bit of a tangent here too, just so everybody knows, right? I don't know how many people in here are new to real estate, how many people just got started. Lead generation is so key. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's gonna be days in real estate, I think we all can agree, right? I mean, there's some days in real estate you're like, screw this, like I wanna quit, right? You just gotta put your foot down and don't just stick your toes, I mean, you can stick your toes in and be part-time and absolutely still be successful in this career. Just don't have any other backup plans. Like, stick into real estate and it'll work for you no matter what. Just make sure that you're lead generating and doing something to generate some sort of business.